Hi and welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben and this is my review for Netflix's film. Well, Netflix presents Nino Kuni. So the Nino Kuni franchise has been around for a while. There are two games that I've played mostly. The first one involves Studio Ghibli. The first thing you should know is that you don't need to have played the games to watch this film. It's kind of its standalone thing. It does in part tell a little bit of the first game as far as I'm aware, but you don't need to have played those games to watch this animated film. Nino Kuni follows wheelchair-bound high school student Yu and his basketball player best friend Haru as they try to save Katana, Haru's girlfriend and Yu's childhood friend, by traveling between our world and the magical world of Nino Kuni. And this is one of those animations that I was tentatively excited to see because I loved the first game. I thought the first game was really fun, especially with Studio Ghibli's involvement. You know, the whole world, the cutscenes between those games are Studio Ghibli. It looks like an anime when you watch it, and the same can be said for this. It does immediately feel like a Studio Ghibli film, although in expertise, in my opinion, it's not as good. It looks great and the story follows these characters and you get to like them, and as the arc and story evolves, you are drawn in more and more into this adventure that Haru and Yu go on. I really like that the fact that this story is a builder. So at first you are introduced to these characters. You immediately like you in this wheelchair. Well, I always go for the underdog and the guy that doesn't kind of have the girl. I like those storylines. I'm rooting for the underdog always. So I feel like at first he is the underdog, and as you are introduced to their characters and characteristics and they build the characters, you can at first think, well, this is going to take its time in building story, and you might at first think, this is not going to be as good as I think it is or could be. But I have to say, the film itself is a builder, and by the time you get to the end, you are left, well, I personally think, and my son who watched this with me, we went, wow, that was actually really good. We really enjoyed it. We enjoyed the fruition of the storyline that we didn't see all the plot points coming. We have this thing where we like to do, we guess what's happening, and if we get caught out, we're always amazed because we've seen so many animation and anime and, you know, just animated films, and by now most people can guess most plot points because there isn't a massive amount of originality anymore. That doesn't mean things aren't good and they're not animated well, but when we are surprised by certain plot points, we always go, okay, that was good because it kept us guessing, and that happened here. There was a lot of points that we did guess, but the majority of the big arc points, we were like, wow, that was kind of refreshing. And so, talking about the animation style, I think for the most part it's really enjoyable to watch. The fight sequences, the dialogue, the way they are animated look great. It does remind me a lot of Studio Ghibli films. Unfortunately, there was some CG rendering, I guess, with certain parts of the film. Not many, and a couple of them just didn't look right, didn't look great, but only small parts. For the rest of it, I thought it looked really great, and the story with the animation, I think, meshed well. And then you have the sound, the score, and the dialogue. And I have to say, the sound and theme was good, but it was never overbearing on the actual animation. It never drove it, it never forced it, it was just there, it was good enough. I don't think it stood out, but it was great. I was a little bit saddened by that because for me the score in the games were really good. They helped drive forward the story. That's not to say it was bad, it was just not a character, it was just there, if that makes sense. But when it comes to the dialogue, we watched a bit in the English and the original. And I think the English is good, but whenever we can, with anime, we like to read if there's not too much dialogue to read. We don't speak Japanese, so we went and listened to the original and read the subtitles, and that worked really well. We thought that worked better because you can often get the nuances and the subtleties of the voice acting that the characters are trying to portray across to you in screen. You can get those little characteristics, and that's good for us, so we really get the emotion that they're trying to convey. And so when there is emotion with these characters and they do go through those beats in the story as the characters' arcs progresses, you do get that. Not that you don't get that in the dubbing, but I do feel like the original is better. That's just my opinion. I'm not going to say this is the best animated film or anime film I've ever seen. It's definitely not. It's probably not in my top 10, but it is really enjoyable. I enjoyed it. My son and I enjoyed it. It was something refreshing. If you like the games and you're a hardcore fan, you might not like it, but for me, I'm not a hardcore fan of the games. I enjoyed them, and I think this is a nice addition to that universe. It's fun, it's easy to watch. I'll definitely watch it again. I think they did their job. I know this was released in August already in Japan, and then Netflix bought up the rights, and apparently it wasn't well received there, and so that's why Netflix bought it. And at least that's what I guess some of the people online were saying, that this isn't great. That's why Netflix bought it and just kind of put it under the roof and like not let anybody know that this was coming out. I, for one thing, was great. I don't see anything particularly wrong with this. The story was solid. The action looked good. The way it was animated was fun to watch. There's nothing that I could say that was terrible with this. I think it's a solid film. I'm going to give this a B+. If you like anime, if you're a fan of the world, go for it. I think you're going to enjoy this. It's definitely one to watch with the family. It is a 15, but there's barely any blood. There's no like nudity or anything like that. I think for most part you can watch it with your family and enjoy this. If you're a fan of anime, I think you're gonna love this. We enjoyed it. So let me know in the comments below. Were you anticipating this film? Had you heard of it? Were you waiting for Netflix to acquire it? How long have you been waiting for this? Do you love the games? Which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching this review. But most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.